In the red, he is, for good game gaming, the Ascendant Terran player, Dream. And of course, his opponent in the bottom right here in the blue, he is, for Alpha X, the Ender of Days, Ragnarok. Now I do apologize, folks. I reset my Elgato stream deck to do some stuff, and I forgot that because I thought I changed the name of the collection on my OBS and we'd be fine, etc, etc, etc. That was not true. Apparently it lost all of my settings. So then when I quickly reset it this morning, I clicked the wrong scene that went for a button. So I'm like, I hit the in-game button. You know, we should be in-game now. But it didn't work like that, folks. So my apologies. At least you got some nice GMs there for half a second. But you know what? I'm kind of excited that this series is opening up on Blackburn. At the start, you know, Blackburn felt kind of a decently imbalanced map. There were a lot of 2.5 base Terran pushes with tanks that were rather scary. And they're like, oh, well, yes, there's potential for this to be a great game, a great map in the late game, but, well, it never gets there because the Terran just gets that aggressive. But, you know, much like Golden Wall, after a while, you know, people have started to figure out how to get there safely. The Terran pushes have just become a little bit less popular because, again, people do know how to get there safely. And then, well, honestly, this map turns out to be really cool. One might even say it's a little Zerg favorite once the game gets past kind of that 4 base mark, just because of how free from pushing the upper right side of the map is. We're gonna have to see, well, you know, who thinks they're in the favor of this here. I believe this was Dream's map pick. I believe this was Dream's. Actually, wait, no, Oxide's map too. So that must mean that this was Ragnarok's map pick here. And look at this. It's gonna be Roach Horde coming on down from Shinhinbam in this game. Number 1, trying to channel his inner rogue, maybe. Channel those Zerg I mean, that, to be fair, Ragnarok's just a Roach boy anyways. But seeing, you know, do the best he can to go channel his rogue, do what Rogue did to Maru on this map, where he's like, roaches, I'm gonna slap you aside. That being said, this is a rather early Roach Horde, so this is gonna be like the 35, 34 drone Roach Ravager pressure, I think. Not the, you know, just more committed 1-1 Roach timing. This is just A, defensive Roaches, but B, putting some pressure out on the map and trying to make something happen. And you know what? This is a fantastic opening here for Ragnarok. It is a 3 command center play. There are no Banshees on the field. There is no tech lab on this starport. So, and actually Stim's getting started. So it's not like Stim's going to get canceled and a Banshee get made. So this is just wonderful here for Ragnarok. He's going to just get a bunch of Roaches on the other side of the map and actually finds the value. That being said, not really committing to it as much as I would like. He does only have 8 Roaches on the field, which is non-zero, but, you know, he could be having more. But anyway, so now we're going to have Ragnarok is going to run across the map and Speed starting up behind this. So Roaches are not going to be his mid-game tech anymore. It's just going to be a game of, well, I'm going to do something. And, well, Dream now, he is in panic mode here. He's going to try to make sure he can defend this. But, you know, he can have bunkers all he wants. He has 1 Marine and 1 Marauder. This is just not, this is not conducive to making a hold happen. So now the Roaches are going to look to move on in here. We're going to see, what is this? This barracks is just going to get target fired on down ASAP. And, well, okay, the units in the bunker are actually doing a pretty good job of preventing things from dying. Ragnarok is going to lose 2 of his Roaches immediately. And, you know what? Dream's going to hold here. He's not going to be mining out of his natural for a time, and but he will hold. And especially now with the tank coming on out, these bunkers immediately getting salvaged. And I mean, that's fine. Ragnarok didn't commit to this all that hard. He's forced the natural command center to lift. He's forced mining out of that main base. But look at this. His lair is only just now getting started. His eBay is only just now getting, or his Evo chambers, excuse me, only just now getting started. So yeah, he got some pressure on, but he didn't really get any SCVs. He delayed a barracks slightly. That's not a lot. When it's when your opponent's on 3cc play, well, I feel like you've got to get a little bit more done. Now, what this has done, of course, it has prevented any sort of pressure. It has prevented any sort of pressure on the map from Dream. I mean, yeah, the Hellions, they were removed quite quickly, which does mean that the creep spread is potentially a little bit more developed than Ragnarok might otherwise allow it to be. And interestingly enough, behind this is not any sort of roach commitment. You might say, oh, well, you got roaches that early. You're going to go for 1-1 speed roaches. Nope. 1-1 melee. We have Baling Nest underway. More and more Zerglings underway here. And in part, this makes sense because what Ragnarok doesn't want to deal with, what he doesn't want to be worried about, is kind of that ping pong between the main and other bases. This map, unlike many others, has a massive main. He has a main that is pretty far apart from the rest of the bases here, and that can allow for some really annoying like Terran ping pong drop ideas. Dohuya Estet, I think second map is Oxide. I know it was written down for me, and I said it before the series started, but I don't quite remember. Anyway, this trap here from Dream is going to pop on out, and well, Ravager Ling is just going to say no, don't go away for that. But we do have this Viking on the right hand side. It's going to find some value. You see the flashing icon. There we go. Viking, well, it's finding something. Not too much here. Okay, so this is like Roach Ravager Ling Bane. We do have Roach Speed underway, so it's kind of interesting there. I guess the Roaches are for the Ravager, or Roach Speed is, well, to make any Roaches that aren't Ravagers more useful, but I mean, looks like we don't really care about Ravagers or about Roaches at this point. It's just all about the Ravagers. As Ragnarok, he's just trying to build this really beefy army that's just going to make it so hard for Dream to push on in at all. But we already have an Infestation bit coming down, which, you know, with an early Hive, most likely going to be Ultras. I'm not a big fan of any sort of Ultra tech in this matchup right now. I don't think it's all that good. I mean, just see how Terran players work for the most part. Ghost timings are faster. Really just Ultras, with how unwieldy they are, they don't feel as good as, you know, late game Lurkers. However, in a game like this, where Ragnarok is in a pretty good spot, you know, he did deny mining for a time. His mining has been significantly better for the last 5 minutes. You know, if he hits his timing perfectly and he gets his upgrades on time, which he is, he's going to be in a fairly decent spot. In fact, his 3-3 is going to be able to get started right around when +2 is done, just because that's when the Hive's going to finish. And, well, here we are. Now, I got to say, this Viking is the MVP Viking. It has killed, what, 3 or 4 Overlords? Yeah, it's got 4 Overlords right now, and it's going to go back and repair it. I mean, MVP Viking indeed. As now we do have 1 Queen getting target fired down as well. How many Queens does Ragnarok have? So he only had 6. Now he's only at 5. And that means, you know, we were talking about his creep spread, whether it's how well developed it is or is not. But when you're at 5 here, which means technically that's only 1 or 2 Queens per creep spread, you're not going to be able to redevelop your creep and just keep it up nearly as well as you might say if you're a Rainer playing a 9 Queen setup or something. Now, now we have Dream. He's going to take his 4th base at the gold. So, I mean, both players, they're rather interested in taking this game late. Part of that is, of course, because of the pressure that Ragnarok put on, where now Dream's like, okay, you know what? I didn't put take enough damage to really get behind, but I did take enough damage that means any sort of push I might go for, especially with the kind of Roach Ravager Ling Bane idea that Ragnarok is going for. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to break that. And Ragnarok similarly is like, well, you know what? This is a Turtling Terran on Blackburn. I don't really think I can break that either. So here we are. The game is going rather late. We're going to see some Ravagers just drop Biles down on top. Oh, they're going to get a tank. There we go. And a couple SCVs. So you got to be careful there. You just want the Ravagers sit on the edge of tank range, you know, get some worker damage, do all that. Because otherwise it's not going to be all that valuable. And again, oh man, these Ravagers are just taking so much damage here. But they're going to get 2 tanks. And that is absolutely worthwhile. We have this 1 flanking tank coming on up here. We have Ragnarok. He's looking for an engagement, but this is not an engagement that he wants to take. Not off creep, not like this. That's going to be a juicy tank shot at the end of the day. But, well, it's just going to be replaced with Ling Bane as we got a Roach Ling Bane counterattack finding its way on into the natural and the 3rd base. And, of course, Cracklings, they're not done yet, but they're going to be done rather soon. These are +2 Lings. They're going to be able to chew things through things rather quickly indeed. The Balings are just going to do what they can to try to get on top of these SCVs, and the tanks are starting to go. I think every single tank from Ragnarok has been taken down. Yeah, there are 2 left that have just been produced, but the rest of the tanks here on the map have been taken down. 22 workers have died as well, as Ragnarok is just taking it to the man here. in this game number 1. Of course, Dream, he's still on 56 SCVs. He still has 5 bases. So who is really taking it to whom? Okay, so now we're going to have even more Zerglings find their way on in. And this time, of course, well, they're still +2, but they are cracklings, and they're absolutely shredding things. Yeah, Dream has to be very careful to make sure he lifts things in time. But again, tanks are getting taken on down. 25 workers have died. We're going to have a base that is burning. The base that is in production, by the way, in the upper left, that's going to get found out. That's going to get taken on down here. A cancel is going to most likely get forced. Or, well, actually, no, not enough Zerglings for that. But again, we talked about this last time. Oh, look, Dream, he's fine. He can take this damage. The second time, though, this doesn't feel as great. And if we look at resources lost, this is a player that has been going Lingbane Roach. And, well, it's not really working out for them all that well because resources trading are even as Bailing's going to look to roll on in. Ultra's getting on top of this as well. The tanks are just getting blinded, clouded on down. Piercing bombs on top of all of these medevacs that are just not splitting here whatsoever. Bailing's even into the tanks because it does not matter. GG Ragnarok. He takes game number 1. And very interesting here, we see Ragnarok going for what I think was a 15 pool in this game number 2. Now, I don't know whether this is a Ragnarok saying, oh, you know what, I'm a little bit worried about 2 racks. This is Dream, and he's down 0-1 in Sockside. He's probably going to hit me with the proxy racks. So I just want to make sure that I don't die to it. Or whether this is a, the decision to go and actually just be aggressive here. Now, this will be a Reaper expand from Dream, so regardless of what happens, he should be able to defend. It's all about, how much he's able to defend at the end of the day. Now, of course, yeah, the way Ragnarok can go about this. Now, he can go and, send his Zerglings out early and kind of run them around the edge of the map and just hope they avoid the Reaper. But if this is just defensive, okay, yeah, they're going to run. Of course, they're going to run across the map here. Will they avoid the SCV? They will not. So, yeah, Dream now knows exactly what's up. And as we have this one Zergling patrolling the high ground, just trying to make sure that the SCV does not find its way in. But now that it means this Reaper should stay. Oh, okay, the Reaper's not going to stay home. In part because realistically, Ragnarok is not really going to be able to find his way around the other side of the map now. Yeah, again, this has been scouted early enough that it's no big deal. But look at what Ragnarok's doing here. He has got his Zerglings out really kind of in the third base position. And this means that they're both going to be able to move on to the other map and look to delay the command center. And with the Queen out, yeah, you don't really have to worry about that all that much. I kind of thought that was set up for a Reaper trap, because you have the Zerglings coming on in from behind. But no, it's just going to be Zerglings that are okay. They're not even going to try to find their way in. They're not even going to try to delay things. It's just 4 Zerglings out of the map in really good positions and just, oh, okay, excuse me. No, so this is pretty cool. And this is not what I expected in the slightest. So Ragnarok says, you know what? You saw that I went early pool. That's fine. I don't expect that. You're going to scout that, but you're not going to expect, 30 Zerglings with speed in your base at 3 minutes. That is weird. So we're going to have to see, is Dream going to get his wall up in time? He is, just barely, man. That SCV almost blocked the wall. That was almost really bad here. Now, Zerglings, they're going to try to get on top of that Reaper. They will be unsuccessful, but this Zergling flood, at the very least, it just will prevent mining for just about forever and a day here. And that is going to be that. Eventually, with the Hellions popping out, this should be the end of things. Hellions, oh, wait, more and more Zerglings are going to pour on in here. And this is now, it's going to be, a couple dead Hellions nice around here for Ragnarok. And that means that this initial bit of aggression, or initial bit of defensive aggression, I don't know, what do you want to call it, from Dream is going to get cleaned up. Of course, nice micro here from Dream. Most of these Zerglings will go down at the end of the day. Okay, first couple Hellions will go down. A couple of CVs have died. And we do have Banshees coming on in from Dream at this point. So we're going to have to see whether he can do equalizing damage here. Now, Ragnarok, he's going for 2-base lair behind this. And that's pretty good. This is just such a weird build from Ragnarok. He went 15 pool. That's fine. Okay, into 3-minute speedling all in. That got damage. I don't know that it got enough damage. Into 2-base Spire to counter his opponent's 2-base Banshee Hellbat. Or sorry, not guaranteed 2-base Spire, but 2-base something. Although, considering that we have double gas here, or quad gas, this is going to be 2-base Spire. And, well, it's going to be interesting to see how well this one works out. Because so Cloak is going to be done. Which, of course, is always going to be in the Terran's favor when you're looking at this situation. But, I mean, Layer's going to be done, too. As we do have a 3rd base underway at, just about 56 workers, which is when you tend to get it. Now, the tech that Ragnarok has committed to is not really going to be impactful at all for this timing. We're not going to have mutas up by the time the Hellbats are looking to push. But there is one spine in the natural, and we have 5 queens. So, with a couple more Zerglings. Actually, wait, was that spine canceled? Where's that spine? Okay, there you go. Yeah, spine in the natural. So that should keep things alive just a little bit, which will allow queens to just transfuse the spine and target down the Banshee. Baneling Nest is now underway, but I mean, you need to have Baneleys morphing when the push is happening here. So we have 5 queens. They're going to have to be brought all down to the naturals. Double expand coming on in here. So there we go. The 5 queens are going to be brought on down. We don't have any sort of detection, so these Banshees are going to raise havoc for a while. Where's this spore? There it is. It's now burrowing on in. Now, okay, we will not have any more transfuses on top of this, but the Banshees are starting to get target fired on down, but it's not going to be enough, folks. Not really here, because the queens are starting to die, and the queens are what actually makes this defense possible. Well, there's 1 queen left. Zerglings are going to be able to get on top of these Hellbats. 3 workers have died. But there we go. The queens, with them all going down, there's just not enough anti-air. Mutas are now hitting the field as drones are getting pulled to try to keep this alive. Drones getting pulled to keep this alive is not ideal whatsoever. Ragnarok on 28 workers. He's really going to have to get, I don't even know the amount of damage that he's going to need to get done to make these mutas worthwhile to make sure that he does not die. And yeah, there we go. The single GG Dream, he takes game 2. So last game, we saw him go for something similar, and he said, yes, Speedling Flood. That's going to be the way of things, and you know what? That may work out decently well for him here. Well, there should be a wall in time, but it's interesting because Dream, he's going for a 2-1. He's pulling a page out of Maru's book here in this game number 3, looking to punish... Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I had all this, this wonderful, what's the word I'm looking for? This wonderful story that I was going to tell about. Oh, Maru, he started bringing 2-on-1 back into fashion. Now we're going to start to see other Terran players do it. And then Dream says, no. 3 racks. That's a good idea. It's going to be 3 racks here in this game number 3. 1 racks for each game. So does that mean Dream goes 4 racks in game 4? Yep, 3 racks. It's an old build. Something that we also saw Alive starting to do a lot of at the start of Legacy of the Void. When he was really ascendant for a time before he went back and did other things. So, well, it's gonna be a powerful build. The question is whether Ragnarok is gonna be able to scout it out in time. And now he's not doing the Link Fled that we talked about, which honestly in this game, it could have gotten a lot done. There is no wall here in the natural, in the main base, in that natural ramp. So, 30 lings with speed flooding on in absolutely would have found value, but instead it's going to be it's going to be, what is that, a 4-minute speed, give or take. And that means that, speed's going to be done right around the time that Dream is ready to move on out. But do we have any? We don't really have an Overlord in the vicinity. It looks like Ragnarok has 1 on the left side that's going to try to move on in right around that 4-minute mark. But it's one of the benefits of this build. 4 minutes is... Okay, look, it's going to move on in a little earlier. Good. I could say one of the benefits of this build is the 4-minute scout timing almost doesn't matter. If you scout at 4 minutes, you're pretty much seeing that the army move out. Which, well, of course, that's not all that great for the Zerg player if you're trying to make sure you can defend it appropriately. Of course, that being said, this is Romanticide. Excuse me. This is a bigger map. So notice here, Dream is going to try to deny this guy as much as he can. He says, yeah, it's just 3 Marines. Don't worry about it, dude. It's fine. But I believe Ragnarok did see the double barracks. Oh, he only saw the 1. Okay. This means that, well, Ragnarok doesn't really know much. And in fact, he's going to be supply block now. Now, 3 more queens are underway. He's got a Baneling Nest, all that fun stuff. Everything you're looking for to make sure that you can defend appropriately. But Dream's moving out on the map, and Ragnarok has no idea what's happening whatsoever. Now, maybe seeing the single eBay in the wall, that's going to be enough to tell him something, but not really. And now the Marines, they're moving. Now, this is going to be the scout that Ragnarok is looking for. He should say, hey, that's a lot of Marines running on the map. This is weird. I don't like this. I need some help. So we're going to have 18 Zerglings underway immediately. And Dream is, I mean, he's waiting for Stim. That is, of course, the big thing. But now he's just sitting here and waiting. Does mean that Ragnarok's going to have plenty of time to make sure that he can defend. And look at this. Dream, he kind of knows how this works. He says, yeah, I'm just going to back up. I'm going to go home. I forced a bunch of stuff out of you. And, well, I can wait for +1 now. I can wait and just hit for the bigger timing later on. Do we have a starport done yet? Well, we do. Okay, so we should start to see, there we go, double medevacs coming on out here. And this is just going to be more like a 3-1-1 timing from Dream than any sort of just 3 racks all in by itself. And I mean, it's not like any sort of run by is going to get anything done. So yeah, Lings have now been forced out by Ragnarok. He's got some Bailings underway as well, because he can't take this not seriously. He has to take this very seriously. If the Marines ran across and there was just nothing there, I mean, it'd be a dead Zerg player. So you got to give the proper reaction. Maybe you wait until the Marines are actually showing up before you morph Banes, because you think you can hold with Queens. But anyways, now we're gonna have the Army of Dream moving out in earnest here. And I don't, well, okay, we should have medevacs with this army, so that makes it a little bit more doable. I was gonna say, I don't know how much I like that. You know, you just forced a bunch of units out. Maybe it's better just kind of sit there and let that economic advantage start to flow for you for a little bit. But it's gonna be fine here, because once again, we will see an Overlord get target fired on down, as Ragnarok is a little bit supply blocked. And again, Dream is just forcing out units. He's not really committing here. He's just waiting for the next level of this tech to show up again and again and again. I am really impressed with the discipline that Dream is showing in this game. Oh, interesting though. We got Burrow getting morphed in rather quickly here for Ragnarok in this game. And that's really cool. If you know the Astrea is going to kind of be parade pushing or something, it makes sense to maybe borrow some Banes. But B, you know, you can, of course, deny a third base for quite a while. Anyway, oh, that's going to be a kill, not a cancel here. Dream's now going to look to move on in once again. Now, Bailing speed is not done, but still, it's Bailing's on creep. So, not the easiest thing to do. Is now we're going to see Dream pushing in earnest. He has his +1. No +2 yet, no +1 armor. He's just got his big +1 army with a bunch of tanks as well. Ragnarok, he's going to look for a surround. Bailing speed is not yet done, so these Bailings are not going to be nearly as powerful. Target fire on top of all of them. Now the Zergling surround is going to do what it can, and the Bailings are going to get every single thing. Ragnarok, he has the cleanup. He is totally fine here now. Dream, he does not have a third base in this game. This is all in from the Good Game Gaming Terran player, and losing his entire army like that for not much gain, well, he's going to be pretty happy, or Ragnarok's going to be pretty happy about that one. That was a great surround there from Ragnarok, just kind of making sure they had his army going fully around that map. Make sure that he would be able to defend that. So once again, we're going to see the 4th base canceled, which is annoying. It does make it a little bit harder. I mean, Ragnarok does want 4th bases eventually, but his opponent's only on 2, so it's not the end of the world. Really, the problem is the larva, but he seems to be a pretty good job of staying on top of his transfuses, things like that. So once again, we got a big surround getting set on up here from Ragnarok, as once again, Dream, he's pushing on in. This time, he's got a lot less. As, well, +1 is done in 12 seconds. Dream's going to try to target fire that one down, but will not be successful. Now we have the army moving on in. Once again, Bailing's getting on top of the bio here, forcing a big lift up, and now the tanks are going to go down. Liberators are starting to die, and again, it's going to be a big cleanup here for our Zerg player, and again, Dream's pent-up aggression will not be successful. Now Ragnarok, he does have an upgrade lead. Tanks are going to look to move on in. More and more Liberators are going to try to do what they can, but this tank's not even going to siege at this point. Bailing's crashing on into everything. There is just too damn much here for Ragnarok. It does not matter how good the splits of Dream are. The army is just too strong for our blue Zerg player, and he's looking like he's going to go up 2-1 in this series rather easily. And now the Bailing Burrow. Oh, is he going to get it? Oh, Dream, move. He's trying to bait it. There we go. Okay. Not enough, I guess, not enough for a scan. So he's like, I'm going to bait the thing. I know it's there. And he kind of got it. I think he only lost like 1 Marine. But now we're gonna have another version of this push from Dream coming on in. But notice, folks, each time this push comes in, it's a lot less effective, a lot less strong than it was previously. There we have it. GG. Ragnarok, he takes game number 3. And for what it's worth, Bio or Zerg does not always win late game against Bio. That is kind of erroneous. We've seen Maru really be the king of that. You know, Ghost Liberator, Bio, Tank, all that fun stuff. With the late game Terran transition out of Bio actually is arguably stronger than the majority of Zerg late games if you're going just kind of, well, whatever Ragnarok's been going for. It's certainly winnable for the Zerg, and there is a nice timing when if you're going lurkers where you have that like plus where you have that lurker range, lurker speed timing. But in general, I mean, how many games have we seen Mario go into the late game behind or even and then just take it out because of ghosts and proper tank positioning, all that fun stuff. So it's not fair to say that, oh yeah, Zerg always wins the late game against Bio. That's just not a thing. But anyway, so what do we got here? Once again, we have an early pool coming in from Ragnarok, as it just appears that he's somewhat afraid of the any sort of 2-Rax aggression coming in from Dream. And it makes sense, you know, win behind. If you're a Zerg player, or sorry, if you're a Protoss player, you go to DTs. Win behind as a Terran player against against Zerg. Well, maybe you're going to go for 2-Rax. Went ahead, maybe go for 2-Rax. I don't know, 2-Rax are always good. Zerg, okay, there's a reason that Brood Lords are not your common late game transition in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense, right? You go Lurkers and you go Brood Lords, and they kind of overcome their shortcomings. But Brood Lord timings are a very specific timing, and it's pretty easy for Terrans to get out the proper response if they see that it's coming. I mean, you're already going to have a reactor on the starport. I mean, you're going to be fine. Assuming the Brood Lords aren't just hitting you and breaking you right then, right there. Yeah, it's absolutely skill based in the late game. I wouldn't say, when you get up to like 15 plus ghosts, it does feel like it's a little bit Terran favored, but it's hard to. I mean, ghosts are expensive. It's kind of hard to get there. And I'm saying like 51.49. In all honesty, I'm not. It's not any sort of real significant imbalance. But anyways. We have Dream here. He's going for 3 CC play into Hellion Banshee in this game number 3. So he's going to go for the standard. Well, not quite the standard. Actually, the standard is like 2 base Hellion Banshee into a 3rd base right around 4 minutes. So Dream, well, he's doing a good job of being greedy at this point. Notice if Ragnarok's paying attention, well, actually, now these Hellions are at a fairly decent timing, so we're fine. Ragnarok or Dream is doing a pretty good job of being greedy, and he's going to be able to keep the Zerg off his back. Keep the Zerg from expanding too, or just with these 4 Hellions, these 6 Hellions that he has, and the Banshee. But now, I love this from Ragnarok. He says, yeah, okay. I have been bopped before by... I've been caught by surprise by some builds. I'm not going to say bopped by those builds, because he did win the game that we saw the weird build coming on in from Ragnarok. But I just want to make sure I don't die here. So now the Hellions are going to look to dive on in, but Zerglings, of course, they're hiding behind things. They say, no, you can't run on in there. 2 workers will go down, but that's going to be just about that. And well, we don't see anything out of the ordinary here in this game number 4. Ragnarok, he's just developing himself into just your Ling Bane idea. I mean, of course, it's going to be a later layer, but that's fine. That's kind of what's expected. His layer's not done, yeah. It's just going to be a later layer, which is expected. I mean, this is just how that works. If you know your opponent's not doing something where you need a layer to defend, which, in all honesty, Ragnarok knows this. He got the full scat off. He knows just how long he can delay that. In fact, he's going to get his 4th base before his layer, which is, oh, interesting. But 1-1 is underway. Bailey Nest underway, and he's not forgetting his lair, is he? I mean, I'm seeing all this tech go. Well, never mind. Yeah, the next 100 guess should be for the lair. Okay. Now we should say, of course, that his bailing speed or his cruise spread is actually really fantastic, especially on the right-hand side, which does mean that these Hellions are going to try to deny some of this, but Zerglings are going to be able to get a decent surround, and we haven't really seen these Banshees Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Banshee was in production. Dev was not made. Now it's just once again we're gonna see the MVP Viking. You know, the Viking that kept Dream in game number 1 before he did fall down. But now they're gonna look for this round here. Are they gonna be able to get on top of everything that they need to? Looks like that answer is yes. Hellions are gonna be put in a corner. No one puts Hellions in a corner, but they're gonna go on down. Now all the map control that Dream has been looking for in this game is not there anymore. It's all gone. In game number 1, Dream lost his Viking, and therefore he lost the game. But no, realistically, he tried to go and he just tried to take the game late. Ragnarok went for Ragnarok got a little bit ahead early, of course, with his Roach push. He went for the 35 drone, 8 Roach kind of pressure build. He got up to 3-3, he got up to ultras, and then he won pretty much by having 2 big Lingbane Roach run-bys into the underside of the Terran economy, of the Terran production. So he knocked off like 30 workers each time, delayed a 5th base, and then just pretty much broke the Terran after that because his economy was just too damn strong. All right, so now 1-1 is done. Combat shields are going to be done rather soon. And we're going to see a bunch of queens get target fired on down here. 1, 2, 3 will go down before actually not even going to get cleaned up all that easily. So, hey, 3 queens going down here. That's fantastic. That means there are only 6 queens on the map now, which means really only 2 queens for creep spread, which is not what you want. Again, you're trying to develop your map control as much as you can. I mean, in Ragnarok's defense, he's in a pretty good map control position now. It looks like we have this, we have a drop here. I'm sorry, landed Viking on this 4th base. This queen should be able to deny this eventually. Zerglings are going to clean this on up as well. Meanwhile, of course, the push at the front. There's enough here now. 1-1 is complete for both sides. In fact, actually, Ragnarok has got a slight advantage on his +2 timing. So he's in a pretty decent spot. And by the way, notice the amount of gas that Ragnarok has right now. I believe he's on, yeah, he's just on 4 gas here. Just going for that pure Lingbane composition. So we got a Baneling, or excuse me, a Ling drop is going to find its way on into the high ground, which does mean that this base is going to be delayed. This is fantastic. How many times has a 4th command center been delayed when you're building it in your main base as the turret? It's just not a thing. So you'll love to see it. The drop will get cleaned on up here. 3 Zerglings will survive. But now this is bought the top. Oh, I did not see that Baneling landmine actually getting fairly decent connections here. Now we're going to have Ling's Banes looking to filter on in. 1 tank's going to go on down here. 2nd, 3rd tank, they're going to get surrounded by these. Oh, that's a lot of Banes into that tank. That's not what you want. But still, the tanks are going to get cleaned on up here. Dream's going to be forced back off creep. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. As once again, Banes are going to try to make those connections. And yeah, again, decent Baneling connection. But we do need to see more Banelings here from Ragnarok. And, you know, he's like, well, you know, I don't need Baneling connections. It's fine as long as I can keep you back in your base. And he will succeed in pulling his opponent back on in. Once again, is we're going to see just a couple Lings burrow into this mineral line. And you know what? That's 250 minerals right there. That forces a scan that maybe Ragnarok did, or that Dream did not want to spend right there. And this buys time. Once again, for Ragnarok, he's on 6 gas now. He's been able to develop his tech just a little bit more. But it looks like he's going ultras once again. We don't see any Hydra Den. His 2-2 is, of course, just about done, as his Hive is getting pretty close to being done as well. But it's interesting seeing Ragnarok just kind of going for these naked ultras every game, or every game that goes late. Naked ultras, you know, Roach ultra, whatever. Because honestly, ultras are just they're a timing. They're not all that great. It's not like Ragnarok is insanely far ahead. Yeah, he's up workers a little bit, but he's just up the workers that you would expect. It's fine, actually. There we go. We do see a Ghost Academy coming down here from Dream in this game, because he's been able to develop his economy a lot better than he has in previous ones. So there we go. 3-3 and Adrenal eventually. And Ragnarok actually fairly gas-starved with the amount of Banelings that he's been having to make, which means he's 3-3 despite getting his Hive done. Well, it's rather delayed. So we're going to see him go up to 8 gas now. And that should really allow him to afford his Ultra Cavern, allow him to afford his 3-3, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Ultra Cavern now under the way. 3-3 as well. Now, Ragnarok had an opportunity to have, like, perfectly timed 3-3 with his opponent. It's going to be a little bit late now, which will provide Dream with some sort of a timing. But again, Ragnarok, he owns this map. He's got 1, 2, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 5 bases. He's got a 6th base underway eventually. His creep spread is just outside the prospective 5th base of Dream. He's in really just a good spot to take this game wherever he wants it to go. But of course, Dream for his part, I mean, he's getting the tech that he needs to take this late. He's got 4 ghosts coming out at a time. He's building a lot of tanks here. He's got +2 mech attack, but a nice run by here from Ragnarok is going to cancel these 2 additional command centers. So now Dream kind of stuck on, I was going to say stuck on 4 bases, but it looks like he's got some extra bases on the right-hand side as well. So losing those extra command centers, really just losing extra mule factories more than anything else. But this is a lot of tanks. We're at 10 tanks on the map right now, going up to 13 here. And that means that, well, these ultras are not going to be all that great. I think the time of the ultra is kind of done. And, you know, so I think someone in chat mentioned, oh, you know what, Broodlords are good. In this game, absolutely they are. That being said, you got to be very careful with ghost snipes, as they can do a good number on broods. But, you know, going up to 13 tanks, that is a lot of supply locked up in units that don't shoot up. And in fact, really punish you for not being able to get on top of Broodlords quickly, because friendly fire is a thing. So we're gonna have to see whether that's gonna be the plays. The Spire is now done. For the moment, we just have Vipers. Vipers, of course, well, Ghosts, one of the reasons they're good is they can EMP those Vipers and say good luck, folks. But no, it's not gonna be Broodlords. If it is, it's gonna be a rather delayed Broodlord timing, because well, it's just +1 air coming on down from Ragnarok. I guess this is just gonna be for Corruptors to fill out the air fleet, or to fill out to deal with any sort of air problems late. Now Zergling's gonna get on, and Bailey's just gonna crash on into this base. I think there we go. That is a dead 4th base. But of course, Dream, he's got his 5th base already done, and he's just going to immediately replace that one. Ragnarok, good job. You prevented Dream from mining for a solid 10 seconds. Now, of course, 3-3 is just about done here. Ultras are now underway, as well as Ultra Speed. I believe Chitinous Plating is already... Yes, Chitinous Plating already complete. So, Ultras, I mean, their timing is coming, but it really... I want to see Ragnarok go beyond this. So, with a Zerg, there are kind of almost 4 distinct tiers. In most play races, you get, you know, your 2-tier, 3 tiers. You got like your early, mid-game, late-game setups, but Zerg kind of has this early game composition, you know, Lingbane, whatever. Then mid game, which can be Lingbane, can be Lingbane plus 1 layer tech, or maybe, yeah, generally play plus 1 layer tech. And then late game, but you have early late game and late game for the Zerg player, right? You got early late game things like ultras, they're kind of they're useful, but eventually the Terran's able to deal with that, and then you got to move into later late game, Broodlords, Lurkers, whatever. I would like to see Ragnarok go and redevelop that, because I mean, Dream right now, he is, I don't even know how you break this in. Now we're gonna see some really nice blinding clouds coming on in, but that's only the first line of tanks. There's so many tanks here in this game, and now snipes down on top of a lot of these ultras. Bailey's just come crashing on in, trying to get on top of the tanks, I guess, get on top of some of this economy, but not going to be all that successful. Ragnarok is going to lose his entire army in that engagement. Look at resources lost. That was, folks, that was a lot. That was a lot indeed. Is what Dream killed, what, 5,000-ish resources to 3,000. Ragnarok's not going to be too happy about doing that. I mean, yeah, he's going to rebuild his army, but that kind of was him spending his bank. His gas count's 500. I mean, his mineral bank's fine, but really it's that gas count that is ever worrying as a Zerg player. And I mean, Dream, well, now he's building 3 Thors at a time, just because he's now on 9 tanks. His tank count's going down just a little bit lower, but that's fine. But now we're going to have tanks finding their way on in once again on top of this 5th base. Now, notice, of course, that Dream has no planetaries. He has just decided to build orbitals everywhere because he can lift those, deal with Zergling run bys, not lose bases. However, well, there's nothing to defend that. So we're going to see snipes down on top of that ultra. That's nice. But realistically, 27 workers just went down. Dream, his economy is hit pretty hard, but also, folks, the Terran wants to be at 50 workers at this point in the game. There are so many command centers, so many orbitals, that all that Dream really needs is a couple SCVs to make sure he can build more stuff, and SCVs to make sure he can mine gas. Everything else, he don't care. He's got mules. Now, finally, we're going to see Dream get a little bit active on the map here, doing what he can. I just want 1 scan's worth, but that's always going to be something. Now, realistically, Ragnarok is at that point, has kind of taken this position on the map where he's pushed his creep as far as he can realistically get it. He can do a little bit more through the middle of the map, but other than that, I mean, any further, he's running into Terran detection. It's a little bit hard. So now we're gonna have this army looking to move on in. We're gonna see a bunch of ghosts get abducted here, and well, that's not gonna do all that much. Just once again, Ragnarok is gonna lose a large portion of his army, and Banelings are well, okay. Banelings are gonna look to roll on in, I guess. 6 more workers do go down. We're at that point where the ghosts kind of invalidate the majority of this Terran army. We will. Okay, so Ragnarok knows where this is. Do we have any detection coming on in? Yeah, okay. He's just gonna have to pull out because it's not gonna be there in time. We're fine. And they're the ghost. I think the ghost killed itself, actually. Do we have Ragnarok paying attention to this one, though? I mean, he knows where it is. Drones are just going to have to be pulled to defend that. Yeah, we got one. Okay, Queen's going to go down a couple of drones. That's fine. No big deal. You want to replace the Queen, of course, because I think Ragnarok's a little bit... He's not Larvastar, just doesn't really know what to make. I thought I saw a Greater Spire underway for... Okay, we do have that Greater Spire, so there's double Spire here. +2 attack underway. Do we have any Corruptors, though? The answer is no. And again, I kind of think Broodlords are the answer right now, just with how heavily we have our Terran player turtling. But we're hitting that point where the ghost count is so high that it's really hard for Ragnarok to take an engagement. Of course, ghosts do bonus damage to light, which is always going to be nice there, because the majority of this Zerg army is light, and they do fantastic against every tech unit that the Zerg can make, as long as they can get their snipes off, right? Ultras. They go bye-bye. Their high armor does not matter. Broodlords, same thing. They just get sniped down. Lurkers as well, assuming that, again, the ghosts can be in the proper positioning. With these tanks kind of buffering, well, we will have to see Ragnarok give up this left-hand side base, which is fine. It's not really going to factor into his economy just yet. And realistically, the fact that he was mining out of that base for a while is really nice, because it does mean that if this game does get totally map split, well... Ragnarok will have mined more than Dream over the course of this game. So now we will have Zergling run by into the upper right-hand side, but again, there's not a lot of worker steel. It's just a lot of mules, which are nice, of course. But really, you know, Dream's pretty happy at 46 workers. He is now pretty much on Ghost Tank. 16 tanks on the map here, and that's going to be fantastic. Fungal, so many ghosts are going to go down immediately. How many ghosts just died right there? That was 7 ghosts. That was half of the ghost count of Dream in this game. And now we have the army looking to move on. And once again, the tanks are going to siege on up. Do we have any Vipers with this army? I think they're all dead. No, they're Vipers. They're just not showing up right now. Now Blinding Clouds are going to look to move on in. Blinding Clouds a little bit too late, though, because tanks are exploding anything and everything. Jeez, that is a lot of tanks here. And the Thor's just doing a really good job of buffering this guy's high impact payload, knocking down these Vipers. And now what we have Ragnarok, he's trying to play a game anti-mech with a versus bio composition, because this is ghost mech at this point. Yeah, you got submarines left on over, but the majority of the army here for Dream, it's ghosts, it's mech. I mean, he's still building some bio, that's fine, but at this point you need more. You need some ability to get these really good surrounds. Broodlords would actually be really good right now, even with the Thors. I don't know that there are quite enough to make that happen. As now we have 34 Banelings morphing in, 7 Ultras as well, but you're not going to be able to break into this. The tanks are going to siege on up here, and it's going to say, well, you know, good luck, dude. And now Ragnarok's, he's lost enough bases that he is supply locked. So 36 more Lings underway. Now we do have bases lifted. We do have bases forced to burn here. Now we have an army looking to move on in. The Ghost Snipes are going to be gosh darn fantastic. And the Ultras, they're dying. The Blinding Clouds, they're going to be good enough, I guess. But the Zerg army runs in. The Zerg army dies. And it's not even close here. Now Ragnarok, he's out of an economy. He's out of bases. He cannot break this army. Now we're going to have some nice neurals on the tanks to make something, but the scan's going to be there immediately. GG Dream, folks. He's going to take us to a game number 5. Spawning in the upper right here in the red with a really weird supply depot positioning. He is Dream. And his opponent in the bottom left in the blue, taking games 1 and 3, falling games 2 and 4. He is, for Alpha X, Ragnarok. What in the world is Dream up to? This is really weird, right? You don't get a supply depot behind the mineral line to start. You get it in the wall because you want a wall on the high ground of your base. I am... is this some sort of mind game? I mean, he's not doing anything. It's just supply depot not building a wall. I don't know, folks. This is weird to me. There's got to be some reasoning behind it. Maybe, some sort of minor efficiency, maybe. He wants to get an earlier scout. I mean, that's not even true because the SCV is scouting after building the barracks. So, I mean, it's going to be a 2-1-1 at the very least. Is that what this is? I guess, is this just how Dream goes into his 2-1-1? I guess that's got to be it. But now we're going to have the Reaper. It's going to go on out. Here's, well, we're going to have to see how Ragnarok can defend that 2-1-1. So, yeah, it's going to get a full scout off. The two barracks are going to get seen. And at this point, well, Ragnarok, he just has to defend. And Zerg players, they know how to deal with the 2-1-1 at this point. That being said, of course, we just see what Maru did to Cyril. But realistically, outside of game number 3, where the continued pressure did kill him, the 2-1-1 wasn't what killed Cyril at that point anyways. It was late game decision making. It was just really good multitasking. It wasn't the 2-1-1 in and of itself. It wasn't really some sort of cascading damage. And Zerg players, they really know how to deal with this. Right? You go, you drone. You don't get more than your initial 4 lings for quite a while. You get a delayed speed, so this is going to be 4-minute speed, not 3:30 speed. And then right around that 4:30 mark, you go on up to just about 30 lings. You get your queens, you get a baneling nest if that's how you want to hold it, and you're fine. And you're actually in a really good spot because you've been able to be extremely greedy because you didn't have to build those extra 10 zerglings, those 5 lost workers to defend against alien pressure. So we're gonna have to see now if Dream, despite the efficiencies in the plays of the Zerg that will allow Ragnarok to get ahead just because of the fact that he scouted Dream's build, we're gonna have to see whether Dream can get the commensurate damage that he is looking for. Okay, so here we are, baneling nest getting started on up. And, I mean, yeah, look at this. Ragnarok, he's already up on 40 workers. And now's the time he's say, okay, I'm going to build some more lings. That's fine. Because technically the 2-1-1 timing, it moves out on the map at, well, at 4:30. However, well, medevacs are going to be a little bit delayed here. So it looks like it's going to be more like a 4:40 move out than a 4:30 move out at this point. And that 4:30 move out is like the most optimal way to do this. Nice around there. Nice around there by the Zerglings. It's like the most optimal way to play that game. So if you're not going to do that, well, if you don't hit everything exactly perfect, 4:40, okay. So now the medevacs are done. We're going to see them move across the map. And I mean, the benefit of doing it on a map like 2K Atmospheres is that, honestly, well, as big as 2000 Atmospheres is, the rally's not that long, so it's still going to hit right around 5:15. But this is an interesting way that Ragnarok chooses to deal with this. Instead of, yeah, okay, I'm just going to defend, lings, banes, whatever. He says, no, I'm going to defend with my queens and with the zerglings that I'm making in exchange. But otherwise, I'm going to baneling bust your front door down here. So immediately, Dream will get supply locked. His banelings are going to find their way on into his mineral line. Dream's not paying attention. We're just going to see, well, actually, he could run on up if he wants to. Dream is going to be forced back home immediately. How many workers will go down? That's the big question here. Decent splits here for these, decent splits here on these banes, but not going to be good enough. 10 workers do go down. The third base, I believe that was killed, actually. No, it was just canceled. Third base is going to get canceled here. +1 is not. But anyways, Ragnarok, he's pretty happy about how that one worked. Pretty happy about how that one went. Absolutely. So now layer underway. He's got additional drones. He's moving up to 53. He's up 20 workers. The one downside, of course, he does not have upgrades. He does not have an evo chamber. And well, we're going to have to see whether he has enough to defend what's now a triple drop, finding its way on into the main base here of Dream. And Dream, by the way, is using that 2-1-1 style that we saw Maru do on this map against Cyril, where you have kind of that immediate third medevac with a Widowmine adding on in that really can take Zerg players off guard on occasion. Now, nice job with the friendly fire there, dragging down the Widowmine. And once again, this is going to get cleaned on up. And Dream, yeah, he's got a third base underway now, but it is extremely delayed. He's pretty far down on economy. And Ragnarok, I mean, yeah, Ragnarok doesn't have a fourth base. The big deal, of course, is Ragnarok doesn't have any Evo chambers. That's kind of what I'm getting worried about here. Because, yes, this is a game where Dream only has one upgrade. But he's going to get a second upgrade started before Evo chambers even get started. I'm almost wondering whether we're going to see Ragnarok just go for a speed bane all in. Just kind of an eco all in. You don't get upgrades. You just build ludicrous amounts of Ling Bane and you run across the map. Okay, so now, okay, that's what it's going to be. That makes sense. Spire underway for Dream or for Ragnarok at this point. Baneley Speed's coming on in as well. Now, of course, you don't want to lose queens. That is important, and one queen will go on down here. But now we're going to see surrounds. And again, every time this happens, hey, there's dead medevac as well. Every time that we do see Dream doing something like this, it just doesn't feel like he's getting the necessary value. That, of course, the Baneleys are going to get stuck a little bit behind these queens. So, you know, not quite what they want, but they're going to do a good job of bodyguard them. The creep continues to develop. Ragnarok continues to expand his sphere of influence. And as long as Dream doesn't kill him, I mean, these mutas are going to cause some significant problems in this game number 5. Because I realize there's not a lot of anti-air. I mean, yeah, you got mutas, but Dream is, Ragnarok is pretty well defended here to make sure that he's able to get on top of things. Now, nice target fire there from Dream. He's going to get a lot of lings because, of course, these are 0-0 versus +1 Marines. And he's going to get, what was that? 7 Banes, 8 Banes. Okay, the battle report's not showing. That's unfortunate. He got a lot of Banes there in that last engagement. Now Ragnarok's going to get a couple mules, which, yeah, they're not SCVs necessarily, but each mule is 250 minerals. So you get 2 mules, that's effectively 10 SCV, or 5 SCVs. No, 10 SCVs, excuse me. But now 1-1's underway. We got 8 mutas here as well. Ragnarok is going to start snowballing his position, and he has his 4th base up. His economy is maybe not quite where he wants it to be. I mean, he'd rather be 70-something, but he's fine. He's in a good spot. He's in a position he needs to defend, as now Zerglings are once again going to find their way on into this 3rd base. Of course, 2,000 atmospheres, it's a lot like Leadshade, a lot like Oxide, that has kind of these discrete attack patterns that allow the Zerg to really just avoid wherever the Terran army is and make something happen. So now the SCVs are going to get pulled trying to defend this. 10-12 workers are going to go down, and this means that Ragnarok can afford to lose this base. He doesn't want to, of course, but he doesn't really care because he just got 14 workers. He has once again knocked Dream's economy back into the Stone Age, and he's already re-expanding up north. He's already halfway done, so he's going to have his 4th base rather soon, and mutas are now finding their way on in. Folks, there is no anti-air in these bases. It's going to be on to Marine rallies, but honestly, the mutas may even be able to just camp the production and make it so the Dream can't really do what he wants. So now, there we go. We're seeing, yeah, mutas are just absolutely doing that here. We're seeing Marines not even fighting onto their rally because they're not rallied onto an A move. Anyway, now we have Baneleys looking to roll on in here, getting atop all of these Marines. They're going to get fantastic connections. Everything goes down. Yeah, we got some Liberators in the sky, but that does not matter because Dream is going to get fully cleaned on up. He's taking so much economic damage at home. Did he get any? Well, I think all mutas died, actually. Yeah, his rally was actually able to kill off the mutas because Ragnarok was focusing on the army at home, and that is going to be a little bit of a bright spot here for Dream in this game. Because, well, his opponent only has 66 workers, only on 4 bases. He got all the mutas. That is something. But that engagement, that fight that Dream took, at the end of the day, it really didn't work out all that well for him. I mean, he got the 4th base, sure, that's nice, but, well, you don't want to lose your base. Or you don't want to lose your entire army. Now we have an engagement happening once again here. As 1-1 is done for both players, Baneley's just looking to roll on in. Of course, it's off creep, so not ideal. And actually, you know what here? The mutas, they're trying to take the fight, but Liberators are actually shredding them. Of course, 2 Liberators. I believe it's 3 salvos of 2 Liberators. I forget. That knocked down those mutas. So, well, 3 mutas died. 4 mutas almost died here. And that was actually a fairly good engagement for Dream, all things considered. Of course, he didn't get a base, and he has not reset the economy of Ragnarok. But what he has done is he's reset the army. Not a lot of banelings on the field right now, only 2. 10 mutas here, of course. But these 10 mutas, they're not defensive units anymore. They are moving out onto the 3rd base. So once again, we're going to see the economy of Dream get reset just a little bit, really forcing Dream into an all-in position. And Ragnarok, for the 2nd time in this game, he's going to give up his 4th base. But each time he does this, he's kind of okay because he resets the economy of his Terran opponent as well. And yeah, you know what? It's not ideal for a Zerg to lose their 4th. It really isn't, but if you keep the Terran on effectively 1 base, you're fine. Now, of course, the Mass Liberators here does make it difficult for these mutas to fight. They got to be careful. But if we see Ragnarok keep doing what he's doing, which, you know, go in, kind of magic box, kill off a Liberator, back out. Eventually, well, the Liberator's not going to be able to do what they want to do because Liberators are somewhat expensive. So second Liberator is going to go down. Now the mutas are going to be forced back once again. 2-2 underway for Ragnarok is faster than what Dream has. And we're just starting to see the supply lead really start to increase. Now, of course, most of it is in the economy. It's 75 workers. I guess now 71, but 70 odd workers to 22. Dream just really not mining whatsoever. The mutas are just going to wipe out the rest of that in a second as they look to dive in there. And again, honestly, Ragnarok, he can give this base up. He's just going to give the base up. It feels like these 4th bases are almost idiot magnets for Ragnarok at this point. He's like, yeah, go push into me. That's fine. I'm just going to keep bouncing back and forth between my prospective 4th bases as I keep resetting your economy. Once again, it doesn't matter if I lose my 4th if you're on 13 workers. But now really we're hitting that kind of inflection point where the economy for Dream is low enough that Mules can't really make up for it, and he's not really going to be able to go and maintain the army that he's looking for. And Ragnarok's economy is not the best. I mean, he's on below 2,000 minerals, below 1,000 gas. But compared to what his opponent has, it's night and day. It's not even close. So now we're going to see a bunch of Maya move on in here. And this is the timing that Ragnarok wants to take the fight before the tanks are sieged on up in earnest. Ling's getting on top of 1 tank, 2nd tank, 3rd tank. Muta's killing that one off. The splits are not going to be good enough here for Dream. As, Ragnarok's going to put him in a sleeper hold. And he's going to take game 5. Ragnarok, he's moving on to the finals.